They called themselves the Dominion of Karx, and honestly, we thought we were hot stuff. I mean, who wouldn't? We'd conquered 73 star systems, subjugated 42 different species, and our military fleet could block out suns. Plural. Suns. Then we found Earth. Commander Vex sat in his command chair aboard the flagship Eternal Triumph, which, looking back, was a really unfortunate name. His scales gleamed under the bridge lights as he studied the blue-green planet rotating peacefully on the view screen. Another primitive world, he announced, mandibles clicking with amusement. Preliminary scans show they haven't even achieved faster-than-light travel. This will take, 3 hours? Lieutenant Mora, his second-in-command, nodded enthusiastically. Generous estimate, sir. Their most advanced weapons appear to be chemical rockets and nuclear fission. We've seen species more threatening on our dinner plates. The bridge crew laughed. Oh, how we laughed. Vex activated the communication system, ready to deliver the standard ultimatum. Every species got the same speech. Surrender, join the Dominion, pay tribute, keep your leaders as puppet governors. Simple. Efficient. We'd done it so many times we could recite it in our sleep. Attention, primitive civilization of Earth, Vex began, his voice booming with the authority of 1,000 conquered worlds. You have been selected for integration into the Dominion of Karx. Resistance is futile. Compliance is mandatory. You have one planetary rotation to respond with unconditional surrender, or we will demonstrate our superior firepower. This is your only warning. The transmission ended. We waited. And waited. 6 hours passed. Nothing. Perhaps they're too frightened to respond? Mora suggested. Vex's eyes narrowed. Or too stupid. No matter. Prepare a demonstration strike. Target an uninhabited landmass. Something volcanic and dramatic. That usually gets their attention. The weapons officer, a young recruit named Krill, powered up the plasma cannons. Targeting coordinates locked on a location their databases call Iceland. Firing in 3, 2. Belay that order. Everyone on the bridge froze. The voice hadn't come from anyone in the room. It came from the communication system. A human face appeared on the view screen. Male. Middle-aged. Wearing what we would later learn was called a suit and tie. He was smiling, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile that made your survival instincts scream. Hi there, the human said, entirely too casually for someone facing planetary annihilation. I'm Marcus Webb, Secretary-General of the United Earth Defense Council. Thanks for the ultimatum. Really appreciated the dramatic flair. The booming voice was a nice touch. Vex sputtered. How did you access our secure channel? Oh, that? Marcus chuckled. Yeah, your encryption was adorable. My 12-year-old niece cracked it in about 20 minutes. She was supposed to be doing homework, but, you know how kids are. Anyway, I'm calling to politely decline your generous offer of subjugation. You decline? Vex stood from his chair, outraged. Do you understand what you're facing? We have 500 warships in orbit around your planet right now. 497, actually, Marcus corrected. We've been counting. And speaking of which, I need to inform you that you're currently in violation of approximately 63 different human laws, including trespassing, making terroristic threats, and illegally parking in a restricted orbital zone. The bridge crew looked at each other in confusion. Parking violations? Mora whispered. Marcus continued, now, I'm authorized to offer you one chance. Turn your ships around, go home, and we'll forget this unfortunate incident ever happened. We'll even throw in a fruit basket as an apology for any inconvenience. Vex's scales flushed purple with rage. You dare mock the Dominion of Karx? We are the supreme power in this sector. We have crushed civilizations that had technology you couldn't dream of. Right, Marcus nodded, looking entirely unbothered. Here's the thing, though. You assumed we were primitive because we haven't left our solar system yet. That's not because we couldn't. It's because we were busy. Busy? Vex laughed. Busy with what? Marcus's smile widened. Killing each other, mostly. See, humans have been at war with ourselves for our entire existence. We've spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of violence. We've built weapons that can end all life on our planet dozens of times over, and we came terrifyingly close to using them on multiple occasions. The only reason we haven't wiped ourselves out is because we're really, really good at making things that kill, and really, really stubborn about surviving. Your point? Vex growled. My point, Marcus said, leaning closer to his camera, is that you've just picked a fight with a species that considers nuclear weapons primitive. A species that's been practicing warfare since we lived in caves. A species that wrote instruction manuals on genocide and called it history. Vex hesitated. Something in the human's tone made his combat instincts tingle. You're bluffing. Our scans detected no orbital defense platforms, no military satellites, no. You mean these? The view screen split. Alongside Marcus's face, another image appeared. It showed space. Empty space. Then, one by one, hundreds of human vessels appeared, literally materializing out of nothing. They'd been there the entire time, hidden, waiting. And they were big. Stealth technology, Marcus explained cheerfully. We invented it for submarines about a century ago. Turns out it works even better in space. Now, Commander Vex, yes, we know your name, you have approximately 30 seconds to begin your retreat before my people start introducing you to human hospitality. And trust me, you really don't want that. Vex stared at the screen, his confidence evaporating faster than water on a desert planet. Those human ships, they weren't just big. They were massive. And there were so many of them. This is impossible, he muttered. Our intelligence reports indicated. Your intelligence reports were based on what we wanted you to see, Marcus interrupted, still wearing that unsettling smile. We've known about your empire for 3 years. Did you really think you could conquer 73 star systems without us noticing? We've been watching you, studying you, learning how you fight. And honestly, we're not impressed. Lieutenant Mora leaned toward Vex and whispered urgently, Sir, weapon systems are detecting unusual energy signatures from the human vessels. They're powering up something our sensors can't identify. Marcus heard her. Of course he heard her. The humans had probably been listening to every conversation on the bridge since they arrived. Oh, those? Marcus said. Those are kinetic accelerators. Railguns, we call them. Simple technology, really. You take a projectile, usually tungsten or depleted uranium, and you accelerate it to about 3% the speed of light. No fancy energy shields can stop them because, well, they're just metal moving really, really fast. Physics is a harsh mistress. Vex felt his throat sacs constrict. 3% light speed. The kinetic energy alone would be catastrophic. You wouldn't dare fire on us, Vex said, trying to sound authoritative. That would be an act of war against the entire Dominion. You'd face retaliation from. From who, exactly? Marcus leaned back in his chair, looking almost bored now. Your empire is spread across 73 systems. You know what we call that? Overextended. Your supply lines are stretched thin, your garrison forces are barely adequate, and according to our analysis, about 60% of your conquered species are just waiting for an excuse to rebel. We wouldn't be fighting your empire. We'd be lighting the fuse on a powder keg you've been sitting on for decades. The communication channel suddenly expanded. More human faces appeared on the screen. Military officers, scientists, politicians. They all wore the same expression. Confidence. Absolute, terrifying confidence. A woman in a military uniform spoke next. General Patricia Okonkwo, Earth Defense Forces. Commander Vex, I need to clarify something. We're not trying to start an interstellar war. We're trying to prevent one. If you force us to demonstrate our capabilities, every species in your empire will see footage of humans destroying your flagship in approximately 4 seconds. That's not a threat. That's just math. Another human, an elderly man with gray hair and kind eyes that somehow made him more frightening, added his thoughts. Dr. James Park, Department of Xenological Studies. We've analyzed your empire's psychological profile. You respect strength and despise weakness. If you retreat now, you lose face. If you attack and lose, you lose everything. But if you leave peacefully and we establish diplomatic relations, you can tell your superiors that you successfully made first contact with a potential ally. See how that works? We're giving you an exit strategy. Vex's mind raced. Everything about this encounter had gone wrong. These humans, they weren't primitive. They were predators pretending to be prey. They'd set a trap, and he'd walked right into it. How did you learn our language so quickly? He asked, stalling for time. Marcus laughed. We didn't. You're speaking perfect English right now. We've been running your transmissions through a translation algorithm and feeding it back to you in Karxian. You didn't even notice. That's the thing about humans, Commander. We're really good at adapting. It's kind of our specialty. Krill, the weapons officer, spoke up nervously. Sir, I'm detecting multiple missile launches from the planet's surface. Hundreds of them. They're not targeting us, they're entering high orbit and spreading out into a defensive perimeter. Defensive satellites, more identified. They're deploying a planetary shield network. Yep, Marcus confirmed. We figured you might try something stupid after this conversation, so we're taking precautions. Those satellites are linked to a quantum communication network. You shoot one, they all fire simultaneously. And before you ask, yes, they can target all of your ships at once. We're very good at multitasking. Vex felt the weight of defeat settling on his shoulders. This wasn't just a military loss. This was a complete humiliation. The Dominion of Karx, conquerors of worlds, had been outmaneuvered, outplanned, and outprepared by a species that hadn't even left their own solar system. What do you want? Vex asked quietly. Marcus's expression softened slightly. We want you to leave. We want you to go back to your empire and tell them that humanity exists, that we're not interested in being conquered, and that we're open to peaceful trade and cultural exchange. We don't want to be your enemies, Commander. We've got enough problems without adding an interstellar war to the list. And if I refuse? Then we stop being polite, General Okonkwo said flatly. And you really don't want to see humans when we stop being polite. Ask the Nazis. Ask the Imperial Japanese. Oh wait, you can't. Because we don't do things halfway. Vex looked around his bridge. His crew stared back at him, fear evident in their eyes. He'd led them into this disaster. He had to lead them out. Very well, Vex said, his voice heavy. The Dominion of Karx will withdraw. But this isn't over, humans. Others will come. More powerful than us. Marcus shrugged. Let them come. We'll be ready. We're always ready. It's what we do best. The communication ended. Vex ordered the retreat, and the Eternal Triumph, along with the entire fleet, began their withdrawal from Earth's orbit. As they jumped to faster-than-light travel, Vex recorded his official report. He told the truth. All of it. How they'd been deceived, outmatched, and sent running by a species they'd underestimated. The report was classified immediately. suppressed, buried. Because the Dominion of Karx couldn't let anyone know that they'd been defeated by humans who hadn't even fired a single shot. But word spread anyway. It always does. And across the galaxy, other empires and civilizations heard the story and learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate humanity. Never mistake patience for weakness. And never, ever assume that just because they haven't conquered the stars, they can't. Because humanity wasn't expanding outward. They were preparing. And when they finally did reach the stars, the galaxy would never be the same.